Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited about this week's video. We're gonna be letting Goodreads most read this week help us pick our reads. I was scrolling through Goodreads right after I had finished reading The Poppy War and marking it as read when I found that they had a Discover section. So the first part of that Discover section is it says popular with Goodreads members, and then the second part of that section is most read books this week. So we're gonna be looking through the most read books this week and picking 3 from that list to read and rate. The first book on that list that I was so excited about was The Women by Kristen Hanna. I am such a Kristen Hanna fan. She is one of those authors for me that if she comes out with a book, I'm automatically reading it. I just love her writing. I feel like she is so great at getting emotion across in her work. You can also tell that she really does her research on these topics. I have now read 6 of Kristen Hanna's books and I have enjoyed all of them. Most of the ones that I've read, I have actually rated 5 stars. My 2 favorite books that I've read from her have to be, of course, The Nightingale. You guys have probably seen this book around. It is very popular and for good reason. And then I also absolutely love The Great Alone. This is another must read. Going into this, I don't really know too much about the book The Women. It came out a couple months ago and I knew that I wanted to read it, but I just haven't really been in the mood for historical fiction. I do know that it talks about the women that fought in the Vietnam War and how they were treated after the war. It's a Sunday afternoon and I have absolutely no plans for the rest of the night, so let's see how far I can get into this book. Just got a little afternoon pick-me-up drink and I wanted to give you guys an update on our book. You know when you can just feel that something is a 5-star read? This is giving me those vibes. I am absolutely loving this book. I really just love Kristen Hanna as an author. I feel like anything she writes is so good. Our main character Frankie just got sent out to the Vietnam War and she is working in a hospital there. She is not super close to combat. She's at a hospital that's considered one of the safer ones, even though she can still feel the bombs dropping and the hospital vibrating from the bombs. Even though this is a historical fiction, a lot of the facts in this book are very accurate on what people went through. One thing I love about Kristen Hanna is she does interview people who went through these life experiences. I read the author's notes and Kristen Hanna does mention a nurse that she spoke to that was in Vietnam, and she also spoke to some other people who were there. So you know that these facts are as accurate as they can be for historical fiction, and because of that it makes it so much more emotional knowing that people went through this. I'm really enjoying our main character Frankie and how driven she is and how much courage she has, and a lot of people didn't even realize that women were in the Vietnam War, and so there's that whole part of it where her family is really upset that she's deciding to go to war, and not just because they're scared for her, but because they're worried about the social implications it's gonna have of her going off to war, because that's just not something women did. So I really admire her courage and her strength to put herself in that situation. Because of the work that these nurses did, so many men were able to come home to their families. We're just going to continue reading this. Hunter and I are going to go on a walk a little bit later today when it cools down. It's 103 degrees out right now, which is absolutely wild. Also, I wanted to show you guys how cute this little charm necklace is. I actually made this myself. My sister-in-law and I made these right before we went on a cruise a couple months ago, and I still wear it literally all of the time because I'm obsessed with it. And they're so easy to make. We just ordered the chain off of Amazon and then picked out the 5 charms from Hobby Lobby and just clipped them on, and I love it because it's personalized. I have a little seashell because we did make this for the cruise, and then a strawberry because I wanted some red in it, and then I have a bow in the middle, and then an N for my initial, and then a sea turtle because sea turtles are my favorite ocean animal. We also stopped at a port where we did see sea turtles, and I knew that we were going to see sea turtles, so I kind of put this on here because I'm a little bit of a nerd for sea turtles. Good morning, guys. Let's do some makeup and catch up a little bit. We're going to be starting this morning off with a coconut Red Bull. I have not had a Red Bull in a couple of months actually, but this is my favorite flavor and I heard that they're discontinuing it. So I feel like I have to drink this because if it's going to be discontinued, we need to have a last few. This flavor is so good. Usually I do my makeup in the bathroom, but this is the best lighting in the house by this window. So I'm actually on my bed, which could end up horribly because I'm just a messy person. I am now 70% into the women and I am absolutely loving this book. So the first 50% of the book was her at war and her stories working in the hospital there. And it seems like the last 50% is going to be her story about coming home and how she's treated in her mental health. I know that I am very behind on this, but I just started watching Gilmore Girls yesterday and I'm only on episode 2, but I'm loving the vibes of it. I don't know why I've never watched Gilmore Girls before, but I am enjoying it and I feel like it's perfect time to start because it is about to be fall. Sometimes it catches me off guard though because Rory looks like my older sister a little bit, and so sometimes when she pops up on screen it's like a little bit trippy. This lighting is really accentuating my little bit of a unibrow and usually I would pluck it, but I don't have tweezers right now. Also, on another note, talking about TV shows, I have not even started season 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty because I get so annoyed when episodes air once a week. I just love to binge watch TV shows, and so I'm purposely waiting until all the episodes are out or close to being out so that I can just watch it in a couple of sittings. And also I'm going to be going to Japan in 6 days or so, and so I also am thinking about downloading the episodes and watching those because we have over a 24-hour travel day. Unless she changes what happens in the TV show, I've already read the books and so I know what's going to end up happening, but I have seen a lot of season spoilers. This weekend we are going to be going down to Utah and helping my sister-in-law and brother-in-law move into their new house, and we are so excited for them. So it should be fun. We get to see our nephews and our niece. I really don't know too much about makeup. I can do the basics. I do concealer, a little bit of bronzer, and my eyebrows because my eyebrows are very thin. But I just recently started adding this loose powder to set underneath my eyes because I feel like I've been looking a little bit oily in my T-zone. This is just the e.l.f. one. Like I said, I'm not really a makeup girl, and so most of my makeup is from e.l.f. because I feel like, why are we spending $40 for a single makeup product? I'm obviously a very pale person, and it's hard to even find a bronzer that is not too dark for me. And so I've been using this one. This is just the classic Butter Bronzer Physicians Formula. My favorite part of makeup is 1000% blush. I love blush. Our Japan trip is now in 6 days. We're gonna be leaving Tuesday morning, I believe. I'm already starting to stuff my Kindle with reads that I want to read. I'm only going to be bringing my Kindle to Japan because I really don't want to be carrying around multiple stacks of books. And so I've been trying to find good Kindle Unlimited titles that I haven't already read. I don't think I've mentioned this on this channel, but we do have a couple of pets. Nothing crazy, but well, actually, that's a lie because most people don't have lizards. But we have a crested gecko and his name is Bandit. He is just the sweetest, cutest little squishy, chunky boy ever. And then we also have, let me see, 5 fish. We have 1 goldfish and then we have 4, I have no idea what they're called, but they're these little red fish. My husband calls them the red hot chili peppers. And then we have a couple of shrimp. We have 2 snails. And then we have a few plecos, I think that's what they're called. Maybe, no, they're called autocinklus. My husband's gonna be so proud. I knew what they were called. But we have those, and so we are trying to find somebody to pet sit. It's kind of hard because most people are like dog sitters or cat sitters. I think it just intimidates a lot of people that it's a crested gecko. And not to be dramatic, but I'm actually kind of sad about leaving our crested gecko and our fish. Our goldfish that we have is a Blackmore goldfish, which I think is such a cool color for goldfish. But funny enough, we actually named him Lorcan off of the Throne of Glass series because I had my husband read Throne of Glass because I wanted someone to talk to about the book. And so he read the full series, which is honestly a commitment. Shout out to him. And his favorite character was Lorcan. And so when we got our Blackmore goldfish, we decided to name him Lorcan because Lorcan has like dark magic in a way. But everyone who comes over is always like, where'd you get that name? And I'm like, well, See, we're a little bit nerdy in this household. This is day 4 hair, and I honestly need to wash my hair, but the roots aren't feeling too greasy just yet. But I am going to continue reading The Women today and hopefully finishing it because I only have 30% left of it. So I'll keep you guys updated on that, but I do have some things I need to get done around the house and errands I need to run. I just have to show you guys how well my pothos is thriving. I am a pothos girl. Pothos are my absolute favorite plants. I love how they drape. It has these really pretty white splotches. It's like white marbling, and this one is starting to drape down, which I am obsessed with. But these are my little babies. Hey guys, it's a little bit later and I am in different clothes, but we're going to be finishing The Women sitting on this couch, and I'm also going to be playing Gilmore Girls in the background because I just need some extra background noise. So let's finish this book so I can give you guys a review, and then we can move on to our next one.
Want Twix?
It's my favorite.
I will know that.
It's all melted. This is like straight liquid. This is liquid chocolate. It's the thought that counts, because Twix are one of my favorites.
And it's mini like you.
It's fun size. Okay, literally not to be dramatic, I know I said that I have not even watched The Summer I Turned Pretty season 3 yet. I'm scrolling through these edits on TikTok and literally trying not to cry because they edited them with the saddest music ever. Like, what? Just finished The Women by Kristen Hanna, and this book is absolutely amazing. I'm going back and forth between a 4 to a 4.5 star rating for this book. It definitely is not a 5 star, and I can't quite put my finger on why, but this is definitely giving 4 to 4.5 star vibes. But I thought it was really refreshing to hear about the women that were in Vietnam and the way they were treated. I knew that Vietnam veterans were not treated very well when they got home, and it was not received very well, but I never considered the women. People genuinely did not believe that there were women that went to Vietnam. Frankie tried time and time again to get help and go see counselors and go to groups, but she was denied every single time because people did not believe that women were in Vietnam, but also that they did not need help because they didn't actually see combat. This book was very eye-opening, and I realized that I do not know a lot about this subject, so I'm going to be doing more research into the Vietnam War. This book did talk a lot about what Frankie saw in the hospitals and the tragedies that she saw. It did talk heavily about mental health, so I would read the trigger warnings before you read this book. I think Kristen Hanna did a beautiful job with this book, and I will admit I did tear up towards the end because tragedy after tragedy after tragedy happened. This is probably one of my favorite reads that I've read this year. With all that being said, we're going to be moving on to our second book of this video. I was scrolling through the Goodreads most read books this week, and this book caught my eye because I have it on my shelf. So our next book is going to be Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I've watched several reviews about this book, and I've heard nothing but great things. From what I can tell, we are following an octopus who has spent his entire life in captivity at an aquarium, and then we also have a main character and we're following her life. That's basically all I know about this book, but I'm very excited to dive into this. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and so it does have sprayed edges. Don't hate me, but I am not a fan of these sprayed edges. They're blue and they have coral on them, and I feel like this book is just very loud, but I'm very excited to read this, and I'll keep you guys updated on my thoughts. I've been craving banana bread, and I realized Starbucks has some, and I've never had their banana bread, so let's see how it is. I will say I prefer my banana bread with chocolate chips. I just need to make some homemade banana bread because I've been craving it since fall's coming up. I feel like banana bread is such a fall vibe, so let's try this. It's really good, but I feel like it needs like chocolate chips or some sort of glaze on the top, and then it would be 10 out of 10. Hi guys, it's now the next day since we last spoke, and I have honestly made an embarrassing amount of progress on this book last night. I could not put this book down, and I stayed up way later than I should have, but I was just enjoying this book, so I'm about halfway through. Actually, I'm a little bit over halfway through, and I am surprisingly enjoying this book. I didn't think that I was going to. A lot of the reviews that I saw were all good reviews, but they did say that it felt a little bit slow-paced, and I personally don't think that this book has been slow-paced at all. Maybe I'm just not at the part they're talking about yet, but I have been flying through this book. So we do have a couple different point of views in this book. First, we have the octopus Marcellus, and he is in captivity in an aquarium, and then we have Tova's point of view, and Tova is a 70-year-old woman who cleans the aquarium, and she has slowly made friends with Marcellus, and she has been realizing how smart Marcellus actually is. Tova also had a son that ended up disappearing a couple years years back. No one knew what happened, but they ended up ruling it as a death. So we're kind of getting that point of view and her grief. And then we have the point of view of Ethan, and Ethan works at the grocery store and he kind of has a crush on Tova. And then we randomly have a viewpoint that I'm not quite understanding just yet, and that is Cameron, and he is living in a completely different state. And so I'm trying to figure out why Cameron's point of view is in this book. Cameron never had a relationship with his mom and he does not know who his dad is, so I'm wondering if that has something to do with maybe the storyline. I'm really enjoying Marcellus's point of view, which is the octopus. He's very funny. I also really like that the chapters have not been very long, which is refreshing because it's a lot quicker to get through. So I'm just gonna keep reading this today, and I will probably finish this at the rate that I've been reading it. Guys, it is now the next day. I had a super busy day yesterday, and so I didn't end up recording much. We are preparing to go to Utah to help my sister-in-law and brother-in-law move, and then right when we get home, we have one day at home, and then we're going to be in Japan for 10 days. And so I have a lot of cleaning and laundry and errands to run, but I wanted to update you guys because I did finish Remarkably Bright Creatures last night. This book was honestly amazing. I feel like you just need to read this one. I didn't know what to expect going into it because I usually don't read fiction books like this, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm gonna be rating this a 4 to a 4.5 star. I loved all of the point of views that we got. I've seen a lot of people say they enjoyed it, but they felt like it was a little slow in the middle. If I'm being completely honest, I did not think that. I felt like the pacing was perfect. The chapters were the perfect length, and I also really enjoyed the writing style. I feel like it was beautiful writing. I don't know if this author has any other books out, but I'm gonna look that up and end up reading some of her other stuff if she does, because I really enjoyed this one. It kind of gave me like Finding Nemo, Finding Dory vibes. Maybe it's just because it takes place in an aquarium, but that's kind of the vibe that it was giving me. We're gonna be moving on to our third book of this video. I was so excited to see this one on the Goodreads list because I have been wanting to read this for a minute now. From what I heard, this one is a mystery, and I don't really read a lot of mysteries, so I'm excited for that change up in genres. But that book is Wild Dark Shores by Charlotte McConaughey. I am very, very excited about this one. Although I literally hate these stickers. These are like public enemy #1 because they always leave a mark when you try and take them off. Oh, that one actually came off really easy. See, sometimes you just have to complain and then everything works out, you know? We're gonna be leaving to Utah in a couple of hours, and we're gonna be down there for the weekend, so I'm not sure how much reading I'm gonna get done, but I am gonna take you guys along for this little road trip. I still have a little bit of laundry that I need to do, and I need to pack both me and my husband because he is at work currently, and we wanna leave right when he gets done with work. So I'm gonna get his stuff packed up, my stuff packed up, finish up some laundry, and then hopefully I'll have a chance to start this book today. If not, maybe I'll start it in the car. It is 5 o'clock and we are just about to leave to go to Utah. We have a 4.5 hour drive ahead of us, which honestly isn't too bad. I have my book, which I'm hopefully going to start on the way down, but sometimes I get a little bit motion sick when I read in a car. So we'll see if that happens, but I have it just in case. My outfit is courtesy of my husband, the top and the bottoms. The bottoms don't really fit, so I have the drawstring tied really tight. Right now I am cooling off the car and my husband is changing clothes, and then we're going to be off. So it's the next day. We made it into town yesterday, and now I'm heading to my nephew's soccer game. We just stopped and did a little pink drink run with my niece. Hi guys, I'm not even gonna lie, it has probably been 2 weeks since the last time that I've updated you on Wild Dark Shore. We have been so crazy busy. So last you guys saw in the vlog, we were down in Utah helping my sister-in-law and brother-in-law move. We had such a great weekend, and honestly I did not film much because I just wanted to spend time with our family. I also did not do much reading. I got 2 chapters into the book, and the first 2 chapters are very short, so honestly that doesn't even count. And then right after we went to Utah, we got home and we had about 24 hours at home before we went to Japan. So I am already home from Japan. It was an amazing trip, but keep an eye out for Japan content because I have a couple couple videos that I'm editing currently. My initial plan was to finish this book on the plane ride to Japan because we had a very long travel day, but once I got to the airport I realized I was in a fantasy mood, and so I scratched that idea and I just read a fantasy book instead on the way to Tokyo. But I found myself picking up this book while I was laying in bed before I went to sleep each night, so I got a decent chunk of reading done then. And then we also did take the train a lot of places in Japan, and I found myself reading this on the Kindle app on my phone on those train rides. I ended up finishing this book in Japan on the plane ride home, and I wanted to give you guys my thoughts. It was very hard for me to get into this book, and I don't know if it was just because I had a very busy couple of weeks or if I just was not that interested in what was going on. We had a lot of point of view changes, which usually I like, but in the beginning it was very confusing because you don't really know who these characters are, and so it's just thrown in point of view after point of view, and so that was a little bit hard for me. This story takes place on Shearwater Island, which is supposed to be near Antarctica. There's a family that lives on this island. It is a dad and his 3 kids, and they are supposed to be the caretakers. A lot of research on plants and animals happens on this island. There's a seed vault on this island so that if the world were ever to end, they would have a bunch of different varieties of plants that they could regrow. The story starts off with a woman washing up on shore, and the family takes her in. All of their radios are broken, and so they have no way of getting in contact with anybody outside of this island for help. But the whole family starts to form a relationship with this woman, and they very quickly become very close. There's a little bit of mystery because we are not sure why she ended up on this island or what her reason is for coming to this island. I thought that the story was interesting once I actually got into it, but it did take me like 150 pages. There were no characters that I was super invested in or really liked. I feel like there were a lot of point of views, and so it was hard for me to connect with these characters. My favorite thing about this book has to be the setting and the way the author wrote about nature and these animals. It was very easy to picture the setting and everything that was going on because her writing was so descriptive. I was a little bit underwhelmed by the ending of this book, if I'm being completely honest, and so because of that I'm going to be giving this book a 3-star today. I did have a lot of fun reading this book, even though it did take me a very long time to finish. There were a lot of aspects that I liked about it, but in the end, this is not going to be a book that I think about a lot or reach for ever again, I don't think. Sometimes it's fun to read a genre that you don't normally reach for, and this book is definitely a genre that I don't reach for much. With all that being said, I wanted to thank you guys for watching this week's video. Keep an eye out for Japan content because I vlogged basically the entire time, and I have a couple videos that I'm editing currently. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys have read any of these books that I read today and how you felt about them. But I will see you guys in my next video.